listening to Blue Collar Takes with your hosts, Pat and Ben.
Welcome back, everybody. Pat, what is going on?
Not much. What's happening?
Uh-oh, I lost you.
You don't have me at all?
Now I got you.
The fuck?
Technical difficulties from the word go. That's our motto, bro.
Dude, it's so bad.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. What's happening?
Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot. Let's get into it. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. Suppose we should talk about cabinet stuff.
Dude, it has been crazy, huh?
Mhm. It's been
I
on
know
fire.
I know you got a list.
Yep, I do. I did pull up a list here shortly, waiting for you. Uh, before I turn into a pumpkin here. These late night talks, they really mess with you when you got 4-year-olds that wake you up.
4-year-olds that won't let you sleep.
Yeah.
Not just 4-year-olds, 4-year-old princesses, bro.
Dude, that's so
Hey,
bad.
you're kicking yourself in the ass now, but man, are they just the funniest little shits I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
Hearing the stories is pretty epic.
dude,
Your hands
they
full and then some.
the stories just go like they never stop. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's do the fight. Let's talk about the fight. Netflix fight.
Um, I don't know. There was two fights going on. There was obviously the fight card that was taking place on Netflix, and then the fight with me and my TV where I wanted to throw a remote through my TV. Um, I don't
That
know about
wasn't
you, but
that wasn't just you, bud.
no, I know it was everybody.
Yeah.
It was the most. I will never watch another fight on Netflix again.
Nope. I
Um,
think they screwed themselves.
oh yeah, if they were planning on, and I know that they're carrying football games and stuff too,
They've got a football game, but it is not going to be
nearly as
that many.
watched.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
nearly as watched.
no. This was a this. If they would have nailed this, if they would have knocked it out of the park, it could have been a really good thing for them. But they absolutely screwed the pooch on that.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
But
not.
there was some good fights. The first fight was terrible. I didn't even remember who they were. And then Barrios, can't even. I read your lips. I saw motherfucker.
Yeah.
Wait, now I
The
got you on the other
fuck.
mic.
Now I hear you. All right, I guess we're just gonna have to go with this.
All right. So did you can you hear me on my end?
I lost you when you started talking about the Barrios Ramos fight.
So Barrios Ramos was a really good fight.
That was a really good fight. So I turned it on about that right after the girls went to bed because I didn't want them really watching that. And
Yeah,
so that I got into the middle of that fight and my wife's like, "Holy shit. Like what is this? Like why aren't
it
they
was a
stopping this?" And I was like, "This is boxing. Like what are you
right.
talking
This
about?"
this is
That
what it
was a
used to be.
that's a great fight and I honestly like I feel like they cheated both those guys out of
Yeah, it
calling it a
shouldn't have ended
draw.
in a draw. It
No,
shouldn't. I mean,
that was bullshit.
I thought Ramos really turned it on after the fourth or fifth, and he was so smooth after that. And Barrios was really, really good too.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know, I didn't have that as a draw.
Hmm.
And then the next fight with Taylor and Serrano, oh my Lord. Like I don't know if I've seen many fights that were that good.
See, I didn't. I would. So that's when we had all of our issues, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not dealing with this." So
Yeah.
I just
So
turned it off.
I ended up the way I got it to work is I had to use my phone. I watched the fight on my phone and I had to basically not watch it live. I had to wait 15 minutes just to watch the fight
Oh yeah.
and it was worth it. I mean, if you I don't know if like maybe it'll be on YouTube or what, but my goodness,
I
man.
I would bet that Netflix has the replay of it on there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Oh, yeah, you're probably right. But those two ladies went at it, and like, that was as good as any male fight I have ever seen.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I had
that
heard
was
that
good.
on some of the stuff on X and stuff like that. Those two fights were really good.
They were good. They were really, really good. Again, Serrano. Oh man, she got cheated out of that fight.
Oh,
She
really?
looked really. Yeah, I mean, Taylor did a really good job. I mean, Taylor's got fast hands. She doesn't have a ton of power. Serrano's got a lot of power, and she's come up. I think it's like 4 or 5 weight classes to fight Taylor. Um, she was constantly going forward. But the thing that got me was, we'll have to watch some clips of it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Where I'll show you some stuff when we get together. But um, she was headbutting. Taylor headbutted Serrano and opened a big gash over her right eye.
Really?
Yep, opened up a big cut. And then she headbutted her again. And I'm not kidding, man. Like, I can't believe the doctor let the fight go.
Really?
It opened it up even farther. The flap of skin over her right eye was like leaning down into her eye.
Ugh.
It was such a big cut. And she
Yeah.
just kept going, bro. I mean, it was
Yeah.
what a warrior. And she was still effective. I mean, struggling to see out of that eye and still
Yeah.
fighting. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So then we move into the Tyson Jake Paul fight. And
Which
I don't
I've seen nothing about.
I will tell you, like, something's going on there, man. There's two things. A,
Hmm.
I gained a lot of respect for Jake Paul in this fight, not because he was better than Tyson. He was way better than Tyson, but that has nothing to do with it. The respect I gained for Jake Paul out of this fight is he could have ended that fight at any point and he could have
Yeah.
hurt Tyson.
I heard
And he
that.
didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. He saw that Tyson was struggling and he carried Tyson the full fight to let it go to a decision just to save Tyson the honor of being knocked out by a YouTuber. And
Yeah.
Jake Paul is no longer a YouTuber. This kid can fight. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. He's got some freaking skills and he can fight. But so I gained a lot of respect for him out of that regard because
Hmm.
he was too fast, he was too strong, Tyson couldn't hit him, and like I don't know what happened to Tyson. Like here's the other thing that was going on. Like people are saying that Jake Paul could have ended the fight at any point in time, and Jake Paul at the end was like, no, no, no. I know he's a great boxer, and like basically I put on my best effort, blah 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 blah. I don't believe that. I think he could have ended it. I think
Yeah.
he was looking out for Mike's
I
best
think
interest.
that was the consensus I saw
Yeah, I
was
mean
that
that's what
he didn't embarrass him.
right. That's what it looked like. The
Hmm.
second thing that went on in that fight is the Mike Tyson that was in his training videos leading up to that is not the Mike Tyson that stepped in the ring.
Yeah.
It's like he aged. When you watched him walk into the arena before the fight, he was walking in and they were filming him walk in, and I was like, oh my gosh, he looks like a 60-year-old man. He
Yeah.
did not look like he did in any of his training videos. He did not look like he did in
Mm.
even a week and a half ago in his last like televised training session. That was not the same Mike Tyson. Like, what the hell happened?
No.
Because that Mike Tyson in those training videos at least would have been able to pin Jake into a corner and see what happened. And it just, he had no legs. He couldn't move. He couldn't move forward. He couldn't corner the ring. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't catch up to Jake Paul. He couldn't anything. All Jake had to do was corner left or corner right,
Yeah.
and Tyson couldn't catch him.
Yeah.
And so, when you don't have legs like that, none of your offense works and barely any of your defense, right? You have to be able to corner out of the way of your opponent, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't cut the ring off to corner Jake, and he couldn't corner away from Jake to get away from Jake's offense. So Jake Paul just sat there and circled around Tyson and landed jabs and some decent overhand rights. Nothing that he was trying to throw. It became very clear by the second round Jake Paul wasn't trying to take Tyson's head off. He wasn't trying to go in and end the fight. Maybe
Mhm.
it's out of respect for Tyson's power that Tyson could still catch you and it would be lights out. But I think more than that, I think he just realized that Tyson couldn't compete.
Yeah, he realized he was fighting a 60-year-old man.
That's exactly what it was. And it's
Hmm.
lose if you're Jake Paul. If you knock out
Hmm.
Tyson, congratulations, you'll knock out a 60-year-old man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If
For sure.
Tyson wins, congratulations, you just got knocked out by a 60-year-old man.
Hmm.
Definitely not. It was the tale of two Mikes, and it wasn't the Mike from the training videos that showed up. I mean, this was the Mike Tyson of a 60-year-old man who's definitely not able to compete at a level that he was trying to compete at. It was sad. It was really sad. Like
Yeah.
watching the fight, I found myself getting more frustrated with like watching this because Mike Tyson, for a guy like myself, I boxed as a kid. Mike Tyson is like everybody wanted to be like Mike. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To have that punching power, to be the smaller of your weight class and still be able to kick ass and dominate through. I mean, youngest heavyweight champion in the world at 20 years old. I mean, this everybody wanted to be Mike Tyson back in the day, and to see that he looked so good in training, and when he got in that ring, you just saw that Father Time caught up, and there was nothing that could be done. I don't know. I was getting mad that not that Tyson wasn't winning the fight or that the fight wasn't a very good fight. I was just getting mad that Mike Tyson still isn't Iron Mike Tyson that can get in the ring at any point
Yeah.
and cause damage.
Yeah.
I don't know. But those other fights, the Barrios Ramos fight and the Serrano Taylor fight, they carried the card. I mean, they carried everything. Those two fights were worth. I mean, they were worth it. They were great
Yeah.
fights.
Yeah. Right on. All right, shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's hear the list because I have been watching Democrats melt the fuck down over a lot of these picks.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about the picks, but we'll just go into it. So I've got a list here. This is not a this isn't a full list. Like I don't have his staff people that I guess I have some of them, but I have so 12 spots so far of the 25 that get confirmed from the Senate have been filled. State with Marco Rubio, Attorney General with Matt Gaetz, Defense with Pete Hegseth, Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, CIA, John Ratcliffe, DNI, Tulsi, EPA, Lee Zeldin, UN, Elise Stefanik, Health, HHS is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Interior, Doug Burgum of North Dakota, Veteran Affairs, Doug Collins, and Energy, Chris Wright. So I was surprised that Doug Burgum got Interior instead of Energy because North Dakota with all the oil.
Yep.
But and I'm really surprised with Kristi Noem and Homeland Security. Not really sure. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. She doesn't really have any experience on that. Like you couldn't find anyone on your side that came from the border or somewhere. She's not a border state, South
Yeah,
Dakota, right?
I think I think where you have to like really pay attention to what's taking place with his administrative picks is when you look at his last term in office, he got in there and he had a lot of people given to him through like recommendation, like Rex Tillerson and um
Yeah.
Bill Barr and like all these people that he had in his administration that weren't his picks, and he thought it was almost like there's two Trump sides, right? The sides that were loyal to there's two Republican sides, the sides that were loyal to like the Bush dynasty, right? And then there was the side that turned towards Trump. And the Tillersons and the Bill Bars and those guys were all the Bush loyals, like loyal to the Bush family, the Bush dynasty, and were probably well on their way to a Jeb Bush presidency and somewhere in his administration, right? Those people wanted to be in office, and Trump kind of made the mistake of letting them in, not understanding that he figured he could unify the party behind his message, I think, from the first push to get rid of the deep state, right? To drain the swamp. Um, and he didn't understand that the swamp also had Republicans and also had, when you look at the swamp, it's filled with establishment fools that have been there forever and a day that have a grift. that have some sort of money-making venture, whether it's wars or insurance or green energy, climate change, whatever it is, these people are drifting, right? And that caused a lot of headache for Trump in the first go round. That's the first thing. So when he had all those people in his office in the first administration, there were the people that were leaking and they were backstabbing. They were, making sure that his message was being undercut when they could, right? And he just figured he would be able to control it. And that's why you saw him fire people left and right. He'd find out that somebody undercut him. He'd find out that they weren't on track with his message or with what he wanted done, and he would get rid of them. And that's not something that you see in Washington ever. I mean, hell, Joe Biden didn't fire anybody, and they screwed up constantly. I think we saw Sam Brinton get fired after the second time he got caught stealing luggage.
Well, they
Right?
never said he
So-
got fired, but
Right. Well, he disappeared. He never
yeah, no, I don't think he got fired. I think they just he walked away.
moved him, walked
Yeah.
away. So, I mean, same thing. You don't see anybody get fired typically in Washington for that. Trump, on the other hand, was like, I have no choice. I have to get rid of him. This time around, in this administration, you're going to see people that Trump knows or feels will stay on task with his message and will continue to be loyal, right? So somebody like Kristi Noem, she doesn't need to have like a huge understanding of Homeland Security. They're going to find her somebody underneath her. She needs to be able to act like a governor in that position and figure out what's going to work for her in that department, who she needs underneath. She's got to be like a CEO in that corporation, and that's exactly what she's going to do.
Yeah, I get that, all that part. That feels like there's other people, and I'm drawing a blank right now. I can picture his face, but I can't, like, there's just other people that I thought would have been stronger in that situation
I
that
honestly
are
thought-
in the same boat, I think, as Kristi Noem. Like, you could still give her a spot somewhere else. I just think Homeland Security, like, there's other people that have dealt with it more than the governor of South Dakota. That's all.
You're absolutely
I'm
right.
not saying she shouldn't be in the cabinet. I'm just saying that I think there was, and I'll come up with hopefully by the time this is over, I can come up with that guy's name.
I thought one thing that has shocked me is I haven't seen Devin Nunes thrown out anywhere.
Mhm.
And Devin Nunes was the guy who broke the Russiagate thing wide open,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was a baller of a Republican back in the day, congressman. He ran a bunch of investigations, and he was so good at what he did that he finally, when he was done, I mean, he was a Republican from Northern California, and when he was done, Trump said, "Hey, come on over and run Truth Social for me." And he did, and that's where he's been ever since. But I thought he would have been somewhere in the intelligence apparatus, or even Secretary of State, somewhere in there. But I just don't know that he wants to. But what I think you're starting to see too, with some of the Republican Party right now, Trump's not an idiot. He knows that he's only got 4 years, right? He knows he's got JD and Tulsi, and he's got RFK, and those are some big names. He's got Vivek, and he's got, Vivek's not even in the administration. He's just they're going to basically open up their own, I don't even know what you call it. Like
so that
division.
they officially are a part of the administration, just not in a confirmation position, I guess.
Right. So
I don't know how
it's
that
not
stuff works.
It's not a department. Congress can make a department, right? They have to put it on the books, they have to fund it, they have to pay for it. It's got to pass through Congress, and then you can make a department. So they're not going to get that, right? Especially when they're the government efficiency group, right? That are coming through. So that'll never pass Congress because Congress is really trying to stonewall and are having a hard time trying to figure out how they're going to combat what Trump's got going. So really, it's just a division. He's opening up a new division, and it's just going to investigate. It's going to be like you're hiring an outside entity almost to come in and take a look at whatever you want, like their special counsel or almost their special aides to the president is what it's going to look like, or special aides to Congress. I don't know how that's going to work, but they will make recommendations. And then here's the deal. Congress can either act on the recommendations or not. And if they don't act on the recommendations and the American people see that Vivek and Elon have found where they could save $2 trillion a year or whatever the budget's going to be, right? And the Republican Party says, yeah, we're not going to do that. Come 2 years from now, any Republican that doesn't get on board is gone. 4 years from now, any Republican that wasn't on board, I think will be gone.
Well,
So it's the threat.
There was an interview today. I don't know if you saw any of that with Vivek, I think, was on one of the morning shows, the Sunday morning shows. And they were talking about how, just that specifically, like, you need Congress to act. He's like, yes, on some of it, but most of it was done through executive orders, and those can be undone through executive orders. And with the Supreme Court ruling on the agencies not being able to do what they've been doing,
which is make law on their own.
Right. Then it's given them this sort of pathway to do a lot of it through the EOs, the executive orders.
Yeah.
But there obviously will be some that has to go through Congress.
Well, I think.
And you can do that through reconciliation.
Right. And I don't know how none of us right now we're going to know how this is going to work or look until it gets before the first Congress. But we've talked about it repeatedly. He's going to take a wrecking ball to Washington. And honestly, you have to at this point. Washington has been broken for decades. It's full of self-serving people on both sides of the aisle that, like we've talked about over and over again, they're just there for the grift, right? They're career politicians that have everyone knows that lawyers and politicians will lie to your face, and they're salesmen. That's all they are, right? Trump's taking a wrecking ball to that, and he's taking the people along with him. Remember, I've said it all along. There's 13 Republicans that I looked into this is probably 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I dove into the backgrounds based off voting records. I came up with 13 Republicans that were not bought and paid for. 13 out of all of them, out of the House and the Senate. 13. So I'm glad to see that the majority of the 13 are landing somewhere in the Trump administration. That tells me, like, okay, at least I was partially right. But it's obvious. To me, it's obvious, right? You watch Adam Kinzinger. You watch him blow up over, Matt Gaetz. Like, he's calling Matt Gaetz a pedophile. Oh, really? You're the one who protected the Epstein list. You didn't want it to come out. You're also the one who jumped in on the January 6th investigation and cried openly about how it was way worse than Pearl Harbor or 9/11. I mean, this is the type of shit, like, you see these swamp creatures right now, and if they're screaming about a Trump pick, if they're screaming and, like, coming up with whatever they can to say this person can't be, because you could see who it is. Oh, Pete Hegseth. Adam Kinzinger is going after Pete Hegseth. Adam Kinzinger is going after Matt Gaetz. Adam Kinzinger is going after Tulsi Gabbard. Adam Kinzinger is going after RFK. Of course you don't want those people in those positions. They're going to destroy your fucking grift. They're going to go after Big Pharma, and you're not going to have Big Pharma dishing money out to you to be a piece of shit lawmaker anymore. Of course, Pete Hegseth is going to freaking fix the trans bullshit in the military, that woke ideology that's taken over the military. He's not going to put up with that. Pete Hegseth is just like every other door kicker I've ever seen. He's somebody who knows what the operational tempo needs to be. He's dealt with freaking people. He's dealt with soldiers. He's dealt with the military in general. And he did plenty in the military on his own. A badass in his own right. So, of course, they're terrified. He wrote a book. He wrote a freaking book on the issues of the DEI and woke requirements in the military being used. That's another grift that they have going on in the military. Their whole fear in the Democrat side, and even Republicans, was that at some point the military could turn on their bullshit and be like, yeah, no, we're not going to do what you want us to do. And it really scared them after Trump's 2020 election, because honestly, we can say now that there is a vast amount of cheating in that 2020 election. There's no way. You nailed it on the head before when you said when they just unilaterally made the mail-in balloting across the board, changed election rules without going through their own freaking legislature to do it, when they just unilaterally made the laws, passed out ballots. A lot of those ballots were harvested. Dead people voted. illegals voted, and we fucking saw 32 million more people vote in that last election in 2020 than we saw in this election. This election, they've tried saying that Trump was Hitler for frickin', I don't know, months. He had 2 assassination attempts, and by the end of it, this was the save democracy election, right? And they still couldn't bring out those numbers. No, it's all bullshit, is what it was. It's all bullshit.
Mhm.
So that's all the proof you need at this point is how ridiculous this election is compared to the last one. Um, and they're terrified. They know like the guys like Hegseth, they know like guys like Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is going to open up investigations. He's going to go. They know that is coming, right? They know the DOJ now has been weaponized against them, and they're terrified. They're terrified because they have used it against Trump. And now Trump's like, hey, I've got one of my most loyal people who's going to head up the Department of Justice. Oh, and guess what? We're going to get to the bottom of Russia collusion. We're going to figure out what evidence you guys had to impeach me the first time, if any. We're going to get to the bottom of the Hillary Clinton bullshit. We're going to get to the bottom of the Obama situations and the Biden situations. And I think that you're going to see, I mean, the one thing the messaging for the Democrats has been on point with is that they've been saying all along Trump is going to put them in jail because they're his political opponents. No, he's going to put you in jail because you're fucking corrupt.
Mhm.
And there's going to be some Republicans going right along with, hey, Liz Cheney, she fucking deleted all the information she had, all the freaking evidence from the J6 committee. Should she be walking around a free person right now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't, that doesn't not, that information does not belong to you, Liz Cheney. That information belongs to me. It belongs to you, Pat. It belongs to everyone listening to the show. It belongs to every American out there. That is our information, not Liz Cheney's. It's ours.
Mhm.
You are working for us. We are not working for you. You just get to sit in that position because we let you be in that position. And now you see shit like they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified. And some of the picks like Marco Rubio, I God boy, like we talked about it, and I feel like Marco Rubio is slimy.
Mhm.
I don't like him, but there's got to be a reason. I have confidence enough in Trump that there's a reason for something. He's not going to do what he did last time around. And Dan Bongino said uh, just recently, you're not going to like every pick that he has. No one will. No one's going to like every single pick.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see. And like we talked about, like he's not afraid to fire somebody. So if they fuck up, they're gone.
Mhm.
The other thing I was wondering, because some of these people he's pulled out and he's put in his administration, and a guy like Marco Rubio, could it be that he wants him out of the Senate, puts him in his administration for a short time, replaces him in the Senate because he knows DeSantis is going to replace him, right? He replaces him with somebody solid, and then he fires him. I mean, could that be some of what's going on? Like, hey, come be in my administration. I really like, and then they're just, prideful enough to be like, yeah, I'll come be in your administration. Or that's the Rubio pick shocked me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it shocked me
Noam wasn't
too.
so shocking for me because she's been an ally for Trump. Rubio has not been.
I think the position for Nome shocked me, but her
Yeah,
being in the cabinet did not.
right.
Um, as far as Rubio, yeah, I'm pretty shocked by the Rubio pick as well. Um, he feels like a deep state warmonger type. Um,
Absolutely.
I
I'm
just
glad I'm not the
I
only one who's thinking that.
and I really liked Rubio when he first hit the
Yes,
scene.
back in the day. Yeah.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
that 2012 or 14 or 12? I think 2012 or 2014. He was a stud. He was doing really well.
Yeah,
Um,
this is his third term, so is that that'd
4
be
years each
12 to
term.
18? No, it's 6 for senator, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yep, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be right around that term, I think.
I remember Rubio was really hitting his stride when Obama went for Obamacare, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he kind of just um he was smart. He said the
Hmm.
right things and he looked good. And I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a rock star. And
Hmm.
then in Trump's first time around, I mean, he did look like he was deep state. I mean, there's no going around it. He defiantly stood against a lot of things Trump was doing.
Hmm.
And, but I don't know, because JD initially said that he wasn't a Trump fan either until he got to know what Trump's policies were and what Trump was going to do. And maybe Rubio's the same way. I don't know. I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know. I
But
hate.
Rubio then did run against him
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Primary, right?
So he
Um,
was in the primary, wasn't he?
yeah,
The second time too?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He didn't make it very far.
Oh, no one did.
Well, I mean, there's not
Yeah.
much you can do. Trump's a machine.
I'm just trying to I don't really remember who was all in the second one.
Did you see who was it? Mike Pence came out against Matt Gaetz and against Pete Hegseth.
Okay. Why do I care?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Mike Pence is like, you can't put these people in office and blah 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 blah. Like, Mike, listen, everybody knows that you reached out to Trump to ask to be in the administration again. I'm sorry, man. Like, you're fucking corrupt as you're corrupt. Get the hell out. We don't need it. We don't need your help. You're a deep stater. We know you're a deep stater. Uh,
Well, I mean, that's why he was partnered with Trump the first time,
absolutely.
right? Trump was
Absolutely.
trying to grab somebody like that to pull in the other part of the party.
Right. Yep. And I think that's the reconciliation that you have to make to make sure you can get a lot of your agenda across. But you remember how many things the Republicans shot down from Trump's first time through that they just would not let him do that probably should have been done. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. Mike Pence can go hang out at at the Vatican with the Pope and do all that
Hmm.
noise again.
Okay.
Head there. Like,
Yeah.
that's where you're best. That's where you should be. I don't I don't pull punches with Mike Pence. I don't think he's slimy. We
Yeah.
talked about it. Like, I don't want to see my Mitt Romneys, those politicians that put on makeup and just pretend, and then they, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, they're they try to be so polished. The Mitt Romney is just like Gavin Newsom, and Mike Pence is just like that too. Mike Pence is just the religious conservative version of that. I can't remember what he said. He said something about somebody else shouldn't be in the administration because of their previous stance on abortion. Well, let's listen, Pence. We need to move past this. You have a stance on abortion. We're not gonna fricking. That's not even an issue right now. The states have it. Leave it the fuck alone. Trump's not gonna touch it. It's the right of the state to decide because there is nothing constitutionally that says you have the right to an abortion or don't have the right to get an abortion. That's for a state to decide, right? So that kind of stuff, that's the old Republican way of thinking where he's trying to box you into a corner, right? He wants to turn people against you already, against your picks, and say, "Oh, that guy doesn't believe in abortion." Well, they got to come out. I think it was the RFK one that he was saying about RFK.
Oh,
He's got
I'm
to get rid of
sure.
RFK
Or
because of RFK's
probably
stance on
Tulsi
abortion.
too.
Yep, yep. And it's amazing because both sides are terrified right now, right? The
Mhm.
Republicans that are the grifting of the deep state, they have to go along or they're gone. The deep state will have no Republican support after the first 2 years because they're going to lose 50% of their grifters if they don't go along, right?
Mhm.
So that they can't they don't even know what to do right now. They're so caught up. I mean, Trump's coming out repeatedly with pick after pick after pick that are just they seem to be decent picks. And then on top of that, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to abolish the Department of Education. I'm sending it back to the
Mhm.
states." And they're like, "Wait, what?" So now we
Mhm.
can't control education. Oh, and also I'm going to go after the accreditation of colleges. If they're going to continue with the woke BS and they're going to continue with the woke ideology, I'm pulling their accreditation. They won't be able to have public funds going to their schools. And everybody's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Oh, and by
Mhm.
the way, then I'm also going to go after what you've made from all of your donors. I can't remember
Yeah,
what they call it,
the endowments.
the endowments, right?" And you
Hmm.
go look at Yale. Yale
Hmm.
is like billions of dollars in endowments. He's going to take it. He's
Yeah,
going to take it because you're no longer an accredited school.
they're gonna tax them or whatever.
Their heads are starting to spin. There's so much that he is doing right off the bat, what he's telling them. There's so much right now that they're afraid of, right? They stand to lose their grasp on education over, kids in high school and their indoctrination programs at high school and junior high school levels. That's going to be a giant problem for them because
Mhm.
they don't want to lose that, right? Now they're also looking at universities that if they're not teaching instead of uh trying to indoctrinate in universities, they're going to lose their accreditation and they're going to go after their endowments, right? So those are some great ways to change things around, right? I don't remember the statistic. I think it's, man, I want to say it's like $68 billion a year are spent by the Department of Education in public schools, and it's failing. I mean, we're close to the bottom in the world in education, right? It's
Mhm.
failing. Send it back to the states. Make the states accountable to their own voters for their own state's children's educational system. Make them accountable. You want to fix a education system? You bring it to the states to race against other states to have the best educational system in the country, right? If you do it at the federal level, it's the same amount of dollars going to everybody, and it's controlled by the teachers unions. I mean, it's fought and paid for, fought and I don't even know if paid for is the right terminology. It's fought and stolen by the teachers unions, right? It's fought for and stolen. Um, so I think what he's trying to do with the educational system is going to be massive. And then you have all the other stuff they're afraid of, like we talked about, big pharma with RFK going after big pharma. You got the intel agencies that are already in full panic mode that his picks that are coming in are going to shake the house and just rattle the freaking roof. The Department of Justice is going to be just completely overhauled under Matt Gaetz. You got Hegseth with Department of Defense. I mean, I cannot even imagine what's going to take place in the military once Hegseth gets in there. It's done. The woke generals, goodbye, goodbye, Millie.
Mhm.
The pieces of shit that are there that are they are. Here's a secret that it's a terrible secret, but every military guy, man, woman, whatever, that's been in the military knows that you have two types of leaders in the military. There's the Pentagon hunters, or as what we like to call it, the president's panty sniffers. Those guys are always in it for the career. They want to get to the Pentagon. They want to have some sort of job, cushy leadership role where they can be in Washington, D.C., and they can suck off the tit of Washington, D.C., because that's a for life thing. They'll stay there forever. And then afterwards, they get pulled out and they'll grift somewhere else for some other company, some defense contracting company, whatever. That's what they try to do, right? Those leaders, the brass that you have that are the Pentagon sniffers, the President Panty sniffers, they're terrible. They're awful. And we've all had them. Everybody who's been in combat has had at least one of them, and you fucking hated them. And then you have the other side, which are the legit, true blue, you know, diehard American first, badass military leaders. And I've had them too, right? We've all had those guys as well. Hegseth is going to give us one over the other. And I'm sorry, but when you are the only reason we have a country that doesn't speak German or Japanese is because back in the day, we were not weak. We had strong leaders in strong positions that would do dangerous things uh, on the behalf of the nation. And that's what we need our military to be. We can't be weak. So they're terrified. They are absolutely terrified that the whole system that the Democrats have built over the last 35 years, and the whole system, the whole apparatus of the deep state with combining both parties and making it the uniparty that we've talked about, the foundation is so shaky right now with Trump in office and all the things he's saying he's going to do. They're already starting to lose the gains they've made. They
Mhm.
don't even it terrifies them. They don't even have a response. They don't know what to do.
Mhm. The boards are in shambles. The American Pediatrics Board is apparently in full panic. You saw the emergency meetings that they reported on from the drug companies. Um, You've heard that they're compiling a list for generals to be court-martialed as soon as they take over from Milley to, you know what, and I don't think he's in anymore, right? He retired. But
I
I
don't.
don't know how that works.
He
But
was in as
the
of
shit
a month ago.
the shit with Russia and withholding shit from Trump and
Hmm.
working around him with Russia, that kind of shit from before. So and then all the Afghanistan stuff.
Hmm.
So I they've got everybody. I mean, everyone's
They're terrified.
in full panic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on top of this, I mean, you got to think Hamas has already tried to come to the table for, Trump's been in, he was 3 days after Trump was elected. Hamas is already like, hey man, maybe we should talk about a peace deal, right? Iran starts backing down. Russia comes to the table and talks. Uh, Shit's starting to happen that normally does not happen or had not happened in the last 4 years.
Mhm.
And that's what happened. That's going to happen when you have a guy in office who plays, who tells you, are you going to play the F around and find out game? You F around, you're going to find out. You don't believe that? Ask General Soleimani, who Trump took out with a freaking ninja missile.
Mhm.
Legit, a ninja missile. The
Yeah.
thing turns into razor blades and just makes liquid of the people in the vehicle that
Mhm.
it's going after. It doesn't explode. It just turns into a freaking giant can opener and opens a can of whoop ass all over you inside that vehicle. And everyone knows. I mean, look at what he did with the Taliban. He goes in there and says, "Hey, we're going to withdraw." But here's the deal: it's a conditions based withdrawal. If you touch one hair on one American head, here's what's going to happen. And he slides a picture of the Taliban leader's house to the Taliban. The Taliban's like, "What's this?" The leader's like, "What's this?" Trump said, "That's a picture of your house. One hair on one American's head, and I will kill everybody there. I will kill you and your family." And the Taliban's like, "Oh, well, I guess we're not gonna mess with that." That's what this is. You have to have that. Remember when he was going like into NATO and he was telling him, "You're gonna pay your fair share," and everybody was all up in arms, right? His first go around when he was like, "Nope, NATO, you're gonna pay your fair share. We are done being the checkbook for your entire world venture," right? Well, yeah, because NATO is a UN grift. It's a United Nations and NATO are a deep state grift. Of course, that's what he's gonna say. You're gonna pay your own way. We're not funding this bullshit anymore. And look what happened after Trump left. Biden gets right back in office and opens up the pocketbook to NATO and the UN again. And we're paying like 90 something percent of it again.
Yeah.
Everybody who had anything to gain with the grift did not want Trump in office.
Mhm.
He will be the guy who permanently shuts down the grift, right? And that's why we need Elon. That's why we needed Vivek. That's why we need RFK. That's why we needed Tulsi. That's why we need, Pete Hegseth. That's why we need Matt Gaetz. That's why we need Dan Bongino. That's why we need Devin Nunes. That's why we needed Ratcliffe. We need all of these people to be put in these positions to stop the fucking grift. America is not for sale. It should never have been, but for some reason it was, and it got sold down the freaking river. Why in the hell do we have Chinese businesses that are reporting straight back to the Chinese Communist Party? They're the largest farmer owners in America right now. Absolutely fucking not. Why are we selling? We can't go to China and buy farmland. The Chinese government wouldn't allow an American company or corporation, anyone, to go there and buy farmland. Why the fuck are we allowing it here in the United States?
Mhm.
Right? That's a grift. It's a grift. The reason that happened is because some politician somewhere made it okay for that to happen. And on the back end, they made money off it. That's bullshit. And that's exactly the type of stuff we have to freaking be done with. And on the other side of it, we have to hold those accountable for all the shit they did. The Faucis of the world, that motherfucker needs to go to prison for what he did. Bill Gates, that guy needs to go to prison for what he did. You went around and told people that this vaccine was safe and effective. Now we know it's not safe and we know it's not effective. We know it barely works at all. But
Yeah.
you convinced everybody. Why? So the two of you could make billions? Bill Gates has Anthony Fauci sitting on his board of directors for the Gates Medical Foundation. Bill Gates owns the pharmaceutical companies that are freaking making the vaccine, right? Anthony Fauci's wife is the chick from the FDA who approved the goddamn vaccine under emergency use authorization with zero information about what the vaccine could do. Not even, we don't even get to know what's in it. She approves it, right? So those three can make money. Those three need to go to prison. The generals that are being court-martialed, absolutely. You freaking take a stance against our nation and you go undercut our president of the United States, that's treason. You need to be court-martialed. Your ass needs to be yanked out of here. We have to stop playing these games and put America back to being America. Accountability has to return all across the board. And when you sent me that, I think it was something that was on X where the pharmaceutical company said the emergency meeting, and we chuckled and we texted back and forth, and I was like, man, and you're like, yeah, that didn't take long, did it? And no, it certainly did not. RFK is putting the fear of God in these companies because he's done it before. He's won before. He knows this inside and out, and he is coming for you.
And it's amazing to me to see, like, Dr. Birx was on a show today talking about, like, defending him and saying that's not what he's saying. He's saying let's get back to the science. He's not against vaccines. He's against there not being the science available. Show the studies. Do the studies. Fund them.
Right.
And the other guy, the Bedford, was that his name? The guy that was in charge of one of them during COVID, and he came out and he said the same thing. Like, no, he's right. These agencies are all corrupted by the pharmaceutical companies.
100% they are. 100%. When it becomes more profitable to give you a shitty drug like remdesivir than it is to give you an off-the-label drug that they know is working like hydroxychloroquine. When they go after the hospitals, when doctors and everybody say, no, you can't prescribe that off-label, we're not going to do that because we want remdesivir. When doctors are getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies, the whole apparatus is broken. Don't give me something that works. Give me something that you know that doesn't work. That requires me to be in the hospital to get two, IVs done 2 weeks apart, right? With remdesivir, and it's got a success rate of curing COVID at like 12%.
Yeah.
Well, you have hydroxychloroquine that was somewhere up in the 80s or 90%, but we're going to make that look bad and say, no, you can't have that because that's $11. Remdesivir is $2,400. Remdesivir is making hospital money and pharmaceutical companies money. And we don't care about you as an American if you're going to get better or not. We know that some are going to die with COVID. We know that most are going to live because it's a 99.997% likelihood that you'll survive COVID. It wasn't the freaking black plague that they were making it out to be. But you know what it was? A fucking grift.
Yeah.
A big time grift.
Yep.
Right? So yes, Fauci, all those guys need to be worried. And yes, we do need to get back to the science. And not just the science. Who in the app? Why would any of us ever, for something that's a little bit more than the flu, think it would be okay to make a vaccine that uses no live virus whatsoever? It's an mRNA-based vaccine. It's a gene therapy is what it is. With no clinical trials whatsoever on humans, right? We were the clinical trial. The American public, the world was the clinical trial, right? When the previous inventor of mRNA comes out and says, yeah, you shouldn't use this for this. This isn't going to do anything. And we know that there's problems with the mRNA base for vaccines anyway, right? And not only that, the scary thing, if Kamala Harris would have been elected, they were still trying to put the mRNA vaccine in lettuce and in vegetables. So they wouldn't even tell you were being vaccinated with mRNA. You were just going to be given the vaccine with mRNA, whether you liked it or not. So it's a huge sigh of relief for the rest of us that are watching this, where, RFK, that's not going to happen with RFK under Trump. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's coming for you. And you should be afraid. And I can't wait to see what he digs up. Honestly, I cannot wait to see what he digs up, because what happened during COVID was absolutely bullshit. People should not have been forced out of their jobs for not wanting to take this bullshit vaccine. They should not have been forced to take the vaccine, or, as we know, some people were bribed into taking the vaccine when government officials who didn't want the vaccine didn't have to take it, right? And it
Mhm.
seems to be during that whole COVID thing, it was rules for thee and not for me. That's all we took out of that was rules for thee and not for me. And that can never happen again.
Yeah.
Heads have to roll for it.
Yep.
And RFK is that guy. He's the guy for the job. He is every bit as strong and as capable as Trump in this regard.
Mhm.
It's really exciting. I mean, we've said it over and over again, and it feels good, right? It feels good to
It
be.
does feel good.
We wanted this. We said, man, I hope Trump does this. And I can remember an episode. It was like maybe the fifth or sixth episode that we were doing. Maybe I don't know, a long time ago. And you're like, maybe he's listening. It's almost like he's listening, huh? And
Mhm.
and I said, I just think it's the common sense that this is the best way to go forward. And I think you said it's the only thing you can do, right?
Mhm.
And they're doing it. They are
Yeah.
absolutely doing it.
Mhm.
So buckle up, man. Buckle up. This could actually be returning the power to the people. Get all the crap out of the food that's bad for you. Get all the crap out of the medicine that's bad for you. Get all the deep state actors out. Get rid of all the. Why do we need a, defense intelligence agency, a CIA, a Homeland Security, an NSA? Why do we need all these three-letter agencies? Why can't
Mhm.
we just have one intelligence agency? Why do we need the FBI, the ATF, the DEA? Why not just have one? Why not have one? We can have one that does all three of those things and one intelligence agency that does everything else,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Why do you have to have so many? And the answer is because they created power and they created jobs, right? Let's get rid of that shit. Bring the power back to the people. Start showing us what we're doing with our tax dollars. We would like to know. We would like to know what you're planning, what you're doing. Um, Stop hiding it. Stop running this country and running us into problems all around the world that we don't care about. We don't care. Like, no offense to Ukraine, I don't give two fucks about Ukraine. It was a shady, corrupt country to begin with, and we put an even shadier, more corrupt group of government in Ukraine than what it was before. We started a coup in Ukraine. No wonder why Vladimir Putin's pissed off. I mean, the accountability has to come back, and we the people need the power to say, no, 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 that's not going to happen anymore. I
Mhm.
think we I think we have that coming back to us right now. I think Trump is serious. I think he wants to go down, like you said, as like the greatest president that's ever been. And I think the way he does that is do exactly this. He's got to fix what's broken. It's a Herculean task to do in 4 years, but man, they're coming out of the gates at a dead sprint right now. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah. So what we have left is labor, treasury, agriculture, commerce, transportation, education, housing, CDC, Surgeon General, small business, OMB, U.S. Trade Rep, and CEA, which is, I think I looked it up. I believe it's the Council of Economic Advisors, but I don't. This says that Senate confirmed here on the New York Times, but I don't see anywhere else that that's Senate confirmed.
Yeah. It's still a lot of picks left to go. I
Mhm.
mean, you have your big 10, right? And then everything else
Yeah, he's about
underneath that.
halfway.
Yeah.
He's about halfway for the top level, right? And then
So,
they
yeah,
all hire their deputies.
right. And I don't know who he's going to put in those positions. And I'm not going to say those positions don't matter. They're not the positions that are going to have the most impact. Those positions he's filling right now. I'll say the CDC, that's one you need to get somebody. Uh,
And Surgeon General.
yep. Both of those have to be somebody that's good,
Well, it's got to be somebody who work with RFK
100%. But
and
what about,
agriculture too. It's got to be somebody because that's FDA,
yep.
right? So like the food and stuff out of that, that's got to also be somebody that RFK can work with. Um, Education, I don't know.
Well, I don't even know that you're going to have that
Well,
after
they'll put somebody in there to
Yeah,
start
just
because
to
they've got
transition it out.
to get rid of that department. That'd have to be a congressional thing. So they have a budget.
Yep. Oh man, I don't know. Like it's the sadly there's so many grifters in Washington, and we need to get rid of them.
Well, did you see the thing today about McConnell telling to apparently, supposedly, or rumor has it, he sent the Trump administration a note that said that there will not be recess appointments. They don't have the 50 votes for the Senate to go to recess.
Of course.
So
Yeah. I mean that makes absolute sense because it's going to be a battle to get Trump's picks through everything that he needs to get them
he's
through
got to get
because
fit. He's got to have 50 votes for the recess.
the deep state is calling in all their favors and all of their bets. And here's the deal. If this comes down, and they will launch an investigation, 100%, they're going to launch an investigation when Trump gets in office. If they'll launch an investigation into who's pulling the strings behind the scenes to control the votes of congressmen and of senators, and God save you if they find something and it comes back to like Obama or whoever. That's just an example, but God save you, because at that point, that is treason. If you're going to undercut our government, if you're going to undercut the process that we have in place with bribes or with threats, God save you, because I am 100% confident they will put your ass to death.
Yeah.
So we're starting to get into that deadly seriousness of this game that they're playing, the deep state versus the Trump group. Trump's not playing. The deep state thinks they can play Trump. Trump's not playing. And here's what worries me. I said this to you like about a week ago. They're not done yet. There's another assassination attempt coming. It's either before the inauguration or at the inauguration, or they're going to carry out some kind of violent riot with some kind of attack at the inauguration. They're going to do something. I mean, you watch these freaking people melting down. I mean, there's still women melting. I just saw a video of a lady yesterday. Man, I'm gonna pull this up. I gotta find it. It made me kind of chuckle because these people have lost their ever-loving minds. Let me see if I can find this here. Anyways, it was this lady on TikTok. She comes home and she posts this message, and she, just like they all are, right? This video message. And in the message, she's telling people they're done playing now. The left is done playing. And she said, I'm done playing. Here's the deal. She says, if you're going to be out there and you're going to run your mouth and you're going to be loud and be a Karen, I'm done with it. I'm going to get right in your face and we're going to throw hands if you want to. I'm not afraid. Basically, she's saying she'll attack you, right? Like, she's going to do whatever she wants to you because, you have a Trump sticker on your car, pretty much, is what it comes down to. And you see people just losing their minds like this. And there's no way they're done, right? The deep state can't be done. They can't. They're not going to give up their power structure. They're not giving up their grift. And there's a sea of crazies that they can choose from that somebody in that sea of crazies is going to want to stop this Nazi, right? We're all Nazis. He's Hitler, right? Hitler 2.0. Worse than Hitler, some of them have said. The celebrities are still going out and saying stuff about Trump and how he's terrible. The View continues to say stuff about Trump and how he's terrible. MSNBC, CBC, CNN, all of them are saying stuff even today about how terrible he is. After 2 assassination attempts, and now he's been elected, it's all like how terrible Trump is and how dangerous it is and how they have to oppose him. And now everything's about survival, right? Survival. Of course, there's going to be another attempt. There has to be. There has to be. There's going to be another Matthew Crooks, some stupid 20-year-old kid who has never dated a female in his entire life, wants to be a hero, wants to be seen as the guy who saved these women, right? Um, and that's what you're starting to see with the left is how dare you? You should feel ashamed for yourself of what you did to all the women in this country. What the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, you took away their reproductive rights. This is how blind, how moronic they are, how crazy they are. There's no rights that have been taken away. They can still go get an abortion. If you can't get one in your state, go to the next state over. You can. Right? So,
Yeah, you can come to my state. You can do it all the way up to birth.
yeah, right? That's fucking ridiculous. And nobody's pushing to make abortion illegal across the board. And I guarantee you, because Trump has said it repeatedly, there will always be stipulations and circumstances, whether it's rape, incest, for, because the mother will be in danger. The abortions will be allowed no matter what. And those are fine. Those are agreed upon. If you're 15, 14 years old, I would even say then, okay, yeah, fine. It's an underage kid and she got pregnant. All right, whatever. But if you're a 25-year-old Hollywood actress who gets up on a stage and says, I just had my 7th abortion, and everybody goes wild, you're an evil bitch. You're disgusting. If you're using abortion as birth control, you're disgusting. You're absolutely disgusting. And that's kind of what you're seeing. Like this crazy blue hair, purple hair, pink hair, nose ring, multiple face piercings, this whole crowd of women who are now coming out. Did I send you the X where the girl gets on and she said, hey, is there anybody out there that can tell me what MAGA men are into so I can dress the opposite so I can have nothing to do with them? And all the MAGA guys were like, yeah, no, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
You're doing just fine. Don't worry. You just keep doing you. We're good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so crazy. They're so delusional. Like, no self-awareness whatsoever. None. And that's what's dangerous, is because it's out there, right? I mean, it is absolutely out there, where the media is making it like Trump is the worst person on the planet and he's going to murder billions of people. And somebody with a hero complex is going to come down the road and they have to take that shot. They have to. There's too many of them out there right now.
Mhm.
So we're entering this time frame where, man, like, I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. You have the deep state who's losing their shit. You've got the swampy Republicans and the swampy Democrats who are part of the deep state that are grifting for money and power. And then you have this media apparatus that is completely controlled by the deep state and is, you know, nothing they say is true. I mean, I just watched Jen Psaki yesterday say that social media doesn't have the same strict protocols and guidelines for reporting that mainstream media has. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? 90 fucking percent of what you've said is untrue.
Mhm.
I can't think of one thing that I have seen on MSNBC about Trump that has been true. Like, I can't think of one. And it's amazing. I mean, I don't know. You have this apparatus that's being wielded, and they're almost begging for some crazy person to do something. All of them are. All of them. And here we are. I mean, we're coming down that road, so we'll see what happens, because it's either before or at J6, and or not J6, but at J20.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
What are you thinking?
I don't know.
You look tired, bro.
I'm tired. I've been trying to scroll through things. It's kind of quiet, like even though we've got these wild picks that I don't think even we saw coming. Uh it's weird quiet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Like the calm before the storm type thing.
yeah, like
Yep.
even like the backlash, like so I've been looking at Mark Halperin's. I've been following him a lot since the late days of the campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's talking about how people are saying these candidates aren't going to get uh confirmed, and he's saying they're going to get confirmed. Everybody has somebody that wants to work for the administration. They're going to get confirmed. He's like, just watch. They will get confirmed. There is not a 0% chance these people get confirmed. They'll get confirmed. He's
Hmm.
like, you usually lose one. He's
Right.
like, but they're gonna get confirmed. And it's weird hearing that come from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think this landslide victory for the Republicans, um, you really can't
Yeah,
go back now if you're a Republican.
for sure. Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
all you
mean?
gotta do is throw it. Like, look at this wasn't close.
No. The American people spoke in this election, and not
Mhm.
just the American people that were white. It was Latinos, it was black men, it
Yeah.
was
Yep.
suburban women.
Hmm.
Uh, the policies of the Biden administration were on the ballot, and they took it off the ballot. And I don't think the question for me is what happens? Are you more loyal to the deep state, or are you more loyal to yourself in trying to stay in office?
Yeah.
Because if you go ahead and you start messing with Trump's picks when Trump has said this is what I'm going to do, you're not going to remain in office after your next election. They will primary you and they are going to beat you. And they are going to have it anyway in the second 2 years of his term. And I was going to say earlier, Trump is doing a really smart thing. He knows he's got 4 years, and the next option behind him is JD and Tulsi. Um, but he's putting a lot of Republicans in these positions and almost like a depth chart, right?
Hmm.
It's almost like he's training up the bench. He needs this MAGA movement to last 10 years, 12 years, right? So he's boosting up that depth chart. He's bringing these guys into his administration. And then if JD wins the next election with Tulsi behind him, or Tulsi and JD behind her, whoever, um, you have these people again. And what you're doing is you're creating a pool of candidates. All of these guys are young guys.
Yeah.
All these people are young.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's been pretty young.
You're creating this pool, this depth chart of people that you can pull from, that all of them after all of this, we'll see how they do after these 4 years, how they do in these positions. You have a really strong bench of contenders for a presidency, right?
For
So
sure.
I mean, he's smart in that regard, right? You're building the team,
Hmm.
you're building the bench, and that's how you get this agenda done. It's not a 4 year thing; it's got to be an 8 or a 12 year thing. So it's a good thing, and I think we'll take out the swampy Republicans along the way. They're going to take themselves out.
Yeah.
If you push against this agenda that the American people have voted for, you're gone. You're gone in the
Mhm.
next election.
Mhm.
All Trump has to do is point the finger and say, that guy's stopping me. All right, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
We got your back, Trump. You get our back. We'll make this work. I just, you can't. It's a career suicide right now if you're going to stand in his way. Don't you agree?
Yeah. That doesn't, yes and no. I think there's some people that are going to be safe either way, and that's just the way it is until you get term limits. But they're going to try to turn. They're going to primary you for
Oh, for
sure,
sure,
for sure.
sure.
But I think that there's some people that are just swamp creatures, right? Like they're just going to be there.
Yeah, I gotta have more faith. I gotta have more faith that we can turn that off. Just like we pushed in the right direction. We've got where the things we need in place, and I just have to have the faith that self-preservation's got to kick in. You're right. We've seen nothing but the swampiness of these people. I mean, it's been every institution. It's been the CIA, it's been the FBI,
Mm-hmm.
it's been the DOJ,
But everything,
it's been everything,
IRS.
everywhere, right? And it's not like this is new. I mean, go all the way back to Obama administration with Lois Lerner in the IRS, where she was
Yeah.
targeting conservatives
Yep.
for audits, right? I mean,
Yep.
this is not new. So it's decades and decades of rot that has to be taken out. Did you see that meme I sent you? Um, this is actually, you know what the Patriot Front is, right?
Yeah.
That is the organization that was going after Whitmer. It's the organization that was a lot of things, you know, members of theirs are getting arrested.
Mhm.
And we continue to find out that these people that are being arrested are just low IQ individuals that are being duped into doing something with a bunch of guys. That's the FBI setting them up. So this is the meme from today. Breaking: the Patriot Front announces they will be shutting down operations in anticipation of Trump announcing a new FBI director. And the headline is, "Hello, this is not an admission that they are FBI. If they aren't FBI, then why would it matter who's the new FBI director?"
Mhm.
I mean, this is freaking hilarious because the Patriot Front is like, yeah, we're disbanding. Well, of course you're disbanding. You were all a bunch of fucking FBI guys trying to entrap people into
Yeah, that's
breaking
crazy.
laws. I mean, you're gonna kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, and what was it, 11 of the 13 people involved in the plot are freaking FBI
Yeah,
agents.
something ridiculous.
Yeah, did you see the bombing plot that they just had? Some guy was gonna
Yeah.
bomb a power plant,
Yeah.
and it was three
It was a substation.
substation. Yeah, it's three
Hmm.
FBI guys and him.
Hmm.
So they got the bomb. It was an inert bomb. They gave it to him, and once he took the control of the bomb, they go, "You're under arrest."
Yeah.
What? What? Like
Yeah. Again.
again, I mean, this is exactly how the FBI
Mhm.
operates. Like, and they pat themselves on the back. We stopped
Mhm.
terrorism today. You created it, you stupid shit. What are you talking about? You stopped terrorism.
Mhm.
You found some low IQ fool to believe stuff that you're saying. You prepped the target. You freaking planned it. You got the
You
inert bomb.
radicalized them.
You
Yeah.
did everything. And then
Hmm.
you arrest him because of all the work you've put in. Like, pat yourself on the back. That's the FBI that we got.
Mhm.
So to see that this Patriot Front's like, oh shit, we're closing down our operations because there's going to be a new FBI director. Yeah, obviously, because Director Ray is not going to let you run around and do your thing.
Yeah,
This is the
Ray
same.
is stepping down before Trump can fire him.
Oh, for sure, 100%,
There's gonna be a lot of people that step down.
100%. This is that same group, the Patriot Front, that were all riding in the back of the cargo truck at one of the Trump rallies. They
Oh
all
yeah.
jumped out and they had the tan pants and the polos on, and their
Yeah.
faces were all covered. Yeah, tell me you're not FBI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I we got a lot of work to do, man. A lot of work, but I'm confident. I'm not
Yeah.
confident in all of it, but I'm confident in a lot of it. Right? I'm confident. Let's be honest. It's 4 years of time, and it's an uphill battle, no matter what.
Well, he gave
Right?
Vivek and Elon a timeline of 2026
Yeah, for sure.
to cut 80% by 2026.
And they'll do so. They'll figure it out.
Hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
And those are the things that I'm confident in. I'm
And
confident in RFK. I'm confident in Tulsi. I'm confident in Elon and Vivek. I'm confident in Matt Gaetz. Um, if we can get those, and I'm confident in Pete Hegseth, the
I'm
military.
I'm 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 not sure, but not because I'm not confident that he can turn it around. I'm
Mhm.
I just really hope they get him some good people under him.
Who for Hegseth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a
That's going to be so overwhelming that
yeah.
I'm not sure how that's going to go. You know, like you could see it working one of two ways. Like he doesn't get the right people or the strong enough people under him, and it's just it's shitty. Or
I think if
it
you
goes
know
the other way.
I think if you know Pete, you know who Pete is. You know what he's come from. Like he's a kid that's out here by us.
Yeah,
He's
no,
homegrown.
I get it, but you're talking about $1 trillion budget.
Yep, no, I hear you. I understand exactly what you're getting at, but I think
And
you
there's a lot
have
of
to get
parts of that
there's a lot of moving parts.
that they've never passed an audit. So
No,
like
And
There's so much shit wrong with it like
they're
that.
never gonna pass an audit.
Of course
They're
not.
they're never. But what I'm saying is, he will come in like a wrecking ball to get rid of the woke bullshit, and you have to.
That part I believe. I just,
That's all I care about.
yeah, yeah. If
That to me, that's what I need out of the military.
if
What we need to
if
do,
that's enough success, then yeah, I firmly believe that he can do that.
yeah. I
I
just
just
don't
worry
think
about the rest of it, reforming the rest of it. You know what I
never
mean?
gonna happen. Never gonna happen. I
Maybe.
mean, when a wrench is freaking $3,500, I mean they do that shit on purpose. And I'll give a story. Here's kind of how the military is, right? Uh, we'll go to a range, right? And this range is like, okay, we're gonna rope down onto a building and clear this building, and you have to kick in 7 or 8 doors and shoot 4 targets in each room, blah blah blah. Maybe 7, 10 rooms, whatever, right? Um, here's your loadout. You get 300 rounds. Okay. You'll do it blank fire, you'll do it dry fire, you'll do it live fire, you'll do it live fire again, you'll do it live fire, whatever. Whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, you're going to have probably 6,000 rounds more per person than you need for that entire range, right? There might be 20 of us doing the range, and you probably have close to 100,000 rounds out there. And they're going to say to you, burn those rounds. And you're going to do whatever kind of shooting that you can think of to get rid of those rounds, because once those rounds are gone, that's your budget. They just continue to surplus the budget, right? So you want to hit your budget annually. They're not going to give those rounds back and be like, hey, we didn't need all these rounds.
Mhm.
That's how the military operates. So you're never going to fix that. There's always going to be that bloat in the budget, and they're always going to want it. And everybody wants that budget, and they want their money for that budget. Obama came in and cut a lot of stuff and just almost destroyed our military. Biden destroyed our military not with budget alone. Biden destroyed our military with politics. Obama gave the litmus test to get rid of people that were pro-American and would not fire on American civilians. Trump went in there and made, the whole American great again agenda in the military. And then Biden came in and said, no, you can be a trans person in the military. You can be openly gay. That was Obama's administration. You can do all these things in the military that make absolutely zero sense to put in the military, especially if we're fighting in the Middle East, right? We've talked about it before. Hegseth's going to go in like a wrecking ball. I don't think he'll ever fix, not without some major overhauling of, like you're saying, like a Vivek and an Elon in there to help.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do it with just Hegseth. You're 100% right, but he will go in there like a wrecking ball and return the military to what it needs to be.
Mhm.
Door kickers that will shoot you in the face and take your life in a war, that are training to fight, not training to play patty cake, not training to know your pronouns. I don't give a fuck about your pronouns. I'm gonna kick in your door and shoot you in the face. I don't need to know your pronouns. This is
Yeah.
war, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the difference. And Hegseth is definitely a guy who's gonna make sure that we're not playing the pronoun game, the DEI game, the freaking woke bullshit game with the military. So that's exciting for me.
Mhm.
With those 4 or 5, like I can deal with those guys, the Tulsies, the Viveks, the Elons, the RFKs, the Hegseths, and the Gates. If they can just make movements in those 5 or 6 spots, I'll be happy with that as a success, as long as Trump can come through economically on his end. If he does all that, if he fixes those things, that's an enormous success for a presidency,
Mhm.
right? An enormous success. If all those fall through, it's wasted time, man. Like you said, it's too big, too much bloat, too much rot. That'll be fixing the economy for me isn't enough alone to make it a successful presidency. We need to stop what is causing the economy to be broken. And that revolves around all these other things that have to get fixed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
I may be off, but that's just how I'm looking at it.
No, I think we're tracking along the same lines. I just I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I mean, we talked about before we got after it a little bit before about the needing the Senate and the House and those people have followed through. So I mean,
Yeah.
they can do a lot through executive order by canceling other executive orders, but as far as like real substantial change, they're gonna need Congress.
You're gonna need it.
Hmm
You have to. You have to. I mean,
hmm
it's a system of governance and it's a check and balance for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the crux of the situation is it's the greatest governmental experiment that's ever been put on the face of the planet, but at the same time, when it's become corrupted, it becomes almost impossible to fix,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at, man. I mean, let's see where we get and let's hopefully push through it. Hopefully we get what we need. And hopefully we don't get screwed by swamp creatures in the house.
Yeah. Here's hoping.
Yeah. I don't know what else we can say.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. And it's will be interesting to see. I'm surprised that we don't have more picks out yet. Um, I thought they would have blown through that and already because they started 3 months ago.
Mhm.
But and not saying he doesn't know who they are, they just haven't put them out yet.
I I'm sure he's got a really good idea.
I think so too. I mean,
But
obviously he knows who he wants for his economic team, but he's putting them out in order of the importance of the election, right?
yeah,
So like
100%.
the biggest stuff was um all the crime, all the border stuff,
Yeah.
and those people are filled now, and so now you'll see other things
Yeah.
going out.
I just yeah. It's gotta be so hard. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want to make the same mistakes as he made last time.
Yeah, yeah.
He was open and honest about it. He
But
wasn't
that's
ready
why they
for it.
started this 3 months ago, you
Yeah,
know?
and thank God they did because I
Hmm
don't know where he would be at if he didn't bring RFK in to help and Shanahan and all this group to figure out.
Well, yeah, they said RFK and Tulsi were co whatever, but on the actual transition team, it doesn't list them. It's Ludwig and um can't remember who the other one was.
Well, I suppose, but that's probably because they're cabinet positions, right? So I mean, at some point you stop being transition team.
No, transition officials were Linda McMahon, who will probably be small business again.
Yeah, she will.
And Howard Lutnick. Yeah, Lutnick. That they're just they're sometimes those people are in the cabinet, sometimes they're not.
Hmm. Time will tell, man. This is. I would like to see him. I don't know. I'd like to just have it all out there. I'd like to know
Hmm
well in advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe some of it's just the guessing game, like just to keep the Democrats guessing, like who's coming next. You know, like it
Mhm.
seems like for the Democrats
Well,
every day.
there is some of that stuff for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
Because
it
like,
seems like every day you're seeing a new name, and the Democrats are like, oh shit, now we got this
yeah,
person. Oh crap, now this person.
the morning, so they did Pete Hegseth the one day, and then the next day they did Matt Gaetz. And the morning before they announced Matt Gaetz, or that morning that they announced him, Sean Spicer got on that podcast and said, "Listen, if you have a problem with Pete Hegseth, buckle up because there's going to be a name drop today that you aren't going to be ready for." And it was, it was obviously Matt Gaetz
Yeah,
for Attorney General. So there is a little bit of that, like, oh, Pete's going to be the one that's not going to get, and then there's like Matt Gaetz, and like, oh shit, maybe
right,
Pete will get confirmed, and now it's Matt Gaetz, and then
right.
well, now
Like
it's
that's exactly
Tulsi
it.
and RFK, and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
every day. Like the
yeah,
next person's covering down for the person before,
hmm
and their heads are spinning, man. I don't know that the Democrats are ready for it. I don't know that they
no,
were. But it's
no,
good. You know what?
yeah,
Fuck them. Uh,
Yeah, and how do you spin that with Tulsi being the former DNC chair?
Right.
You know, and she left because remember she was the DNC co-chair with Wasserman Schultz when
Yep.
Wasserman Schultz rigged it for Clinton, and that's when Tulsi left
Right.
because she rigged it all against Bernie.
Yep. Yeah. And Tulsi was open and honest about it at
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
I mean, she blew that up.
Hmm.
And that,
And that's what they started calling her, the agent of Russia.
right. I mean, immediately
They're
I mean,
still Wasserman Schultz still went on the morning shows this last weekend and did
Wasserman
it.
Schultz. I'm just gonna like say this about Wasserman Schultz. She brought Imran Awan over from Pakistan. He was Pakistani ISI. That's basically Pakistani's Central Intelligence Agency, right? She brings him over because he's an IT guru, right? Wasserman Schultz and Hillary Clinton are best. They're buds.
Mhm.
They're thick as thieves together. They're both
Yeah.
corrupt as fuck, right?
Yep.
She uses Imran Awan to create government Blackberries. The government Blackberries are being used by Hillary Clinton and by all the Democrats eventually. Imran Awan has them linked so that they can't really be caught on their Blackberries, right? They then trade state secrets on these Blackberries. They're putting classified information on them because they're supposed to be protected. And Clinton's email server in her bathroom of her freaking DC apartment or whatever it was, also set up by Imran Awan. And then when the shit hits the fan, Imran Awan is in a house, leaves the house, takes off, tries to get the hell out of Dodge and go back to Pakistan, gets caught. The individual who then moves into the house has a box full of BlackBerry phones that he then turns over to the FBI that Imran Awan had programmed. Come get a new BlackBerry. Come get a new BlackBerry. That was back in the day where you saw all of the people in government, John McCain, Paul Ryan, Lindsey Graham, John Boehner, included from the Republican Party, all using Blackberries to communicate because they're all
Yeah.
talking to each other.
Yeah.
They're all slimy as shit. That's
Mhm.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So I'm glad that they labeled Tulsi the agent of Putin, agent of Russia. I
Hmm.
mean, it just nowadays, it's almost like a badge of honor, right? If a
Yeah.
Democrat
Yeah.
comes
It
out
kind
and
of
says,
is.
you know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
this, oh, well, okay, so that person's a good guy, right?
Hmm.
The Democrats are saying they're fucking, it means nothing anymore. It goes along with, like every far leftist saying that you're racist or you're a bigot or you're a thisophobe because you don't agree with what they believe in life. It means nothing anymore.
Hmm.
You've diluted the term racism down to the point of where you're saying a black man who votes for Trump is racist against other black people.
Yeah.
And you're a white person saying it. Like,
Yeah.
shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Shut up. You've ruined it. So it's a badge of honor. And Tulsi is squared the hell away. I wouldn't have voted for her if she would have got the Democratic nod, but there's no way she ever would have got the Democratic nod.
No. No
But
chance.
If Tulsi's running against Lindsey Graham and she's a Democrat and Lindsey Graham's a Republican, I'm voting Tulsi. I don't care
Hmm.
because she's solid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about the party for me. It's about the person in the position. But whatever. It makes me laugh.
Mhm.
She's a puppet of Putin. She's a Russian asset, a Russian agent. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. It is. It's a badge of honor now.
Yeah.
Whatever they say, like
For sure.
they come out and they attack Matt Gaetz. Badge of honor. They come out and attack RFK. It's a badge of honor. You know who you want in based off how much the Democrats scream. You know what it's doing to them, how much the panic is. I mean, like you said, RFK is announced to be what he's going to be, and immediately there's meetings with the pharmaceutical companies having emergency meetings. Like, oh shit, what are we going to do? What drugs is he going to come after?
Hmm.
Food companies, food industry is doing the same thing right now. They're like, oh crap, what are we going to do?
Mhm.
We've been making this product with, Yellow Lake 40 or whatever it is, or 10 or Red 40, and all this stuff that we know causes cancer. He's coming after us. What are we going to do? Figure it out
Yeah.
because he's coming after you.
Yeah. It's coming.
Figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a breath of fresh air. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like finally,
it's happening.
people in Washington that care about American citizens and not just the grift.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, it's a nice change.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, I don't know if this will happen, but maybe if they start doing these things and others throughout the country start to see it, maybe there'll be this moment where we can kind of collectively be like, oh shit, I didn't know that about this vaccine that RFK just exposed, or this food company, or whatever have you, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe people will start to see that this is more. You and I have said this all along. Our fucking kids are off limits.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll finally see that this is about our kids. This is
Yeah.
about our kids are our future.
Yeah.
And this is about our kids. For
Yeah.
RFK, for sure. For Trump, damn sure seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Maybe we can work together finally. Maybe we'll stop having people screaming at you and I are racist or misogynist or homophobes, or
That's not
maybe,
gonna happen.
hey, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but maybe
Yeah.
in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe we get back to being America again and stop being this. I don't even know, fucking Babylon or whatever we are at this
Mhm.
point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my dream.
It's a good
It's my
dream.
hope. It is. It's probably a pipe dream, but it's a good dream.
It's still a dream.
It is. Well, yeah. I mean, right now it's a nightmare. So
Yeah. Yeah. But
I suppose, man, we should wrap this one up.
yeah, I think so.
Well,
Check us out. Go ahead.
no, hit it.
Just gonna say, check us out on our website, bluecollartakes.com, social media pages. I think we're still on YouTube for today. So yeah,
Ooh, first day. Yeah, let's not say anything.
we haven't. We'll see.
We're doing really well.
We'll see.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Fuck YouTube.
Well, that's yeah.
We'll wait and see. I'm sure YouTube will kick us off as soon as
Listen,
RFK starts doing stuff.
we're not saying anything that's outrageous. We're not saying anything that's not already out there. So let them do what they're gonna do and whatever.
Fuck YouTube.
Yeah. So right on.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Blue Collar Takes. Oh, and fuck YouTube.